Hello guys, welcome to Solutions Hub. On today's tutorial, we are going to show you how to move your data from Notepad to Excel so that you can have it formatted in maybe columns and then rows, right? Good. So you can easily maybe process it in different softwares that you want to work with. So we have exported some data and then the format is a txt file, and then we have opened it on Notepad, right? Good. So now, how do we have this data on Excel? So let's come back to Excel. Good. Now we have opened a new workbook on Excel. So let's navigate to where we have that point data. Good. Now we have navigated to the folder Notepad to Excel. However, we cannot find it because by default, you can only open all Excel files. So the first thing you are going to do is that you use this drop down and then you select what? All files. So if you select all files, all other files that are not in Excel format will also be displayed, right? Good. So we now have our points. Now, this is the interesting part, the text import wizard. We are going to use the delimited, and then when we use the delimited, it's now asking us which of the delimiters do we want to use. So is it semicolon, is it comma, is it space, and then if there are others that you also want to indicate. Now, most times, if you understand your data, you can decide to use the delimiters. However, if you don't understand your data, you can decide to check all of the delimiters. And then this order is actually if there is a special delimiter that you have used that is not listed here, right? Good. So for us to be on the safe side, let's try to use all of the delimiters checked, right? Good. And then let's see next. And then we can just decide to leave the column data as general because we don't have any data type in particular that we are trying to import, right? Good. So let's now finish. So with this now, we now see that we have different columns that hold different data. From this point, we can decide to now take off those ones we don't need and then leave the ones that we need. So what do we mean by that? Basically, we don't need the whole of this. So we can just decide to, then we can still extend it to this point because we don't really need everything that is here. So we can just delete and take it up, right? Good. Then we also try to delete this. Now what is left, we have to take this as well because we don't need it. We need the point ID, but we don't need this column. So we can also delete this column. Then we now have our instance to be this, but we are still going to delete it because that's not the field we need. Then we also delete the rest of this. And then we have something like this, right? Good. So for the final formatting, we can just decide to highlight the whole of this and then take those out. We can now insert a column where we have our this to be Easton and then this to be nothing, right? Good. And then we can call this our ID, right? So we just try to get the maximum width, the maximum width. So 16, we don't need that. We can still take that out. So basically we have formatted the data as from what we have here to look like what it is now. So you can still format your coordinates or the point values you have to a specific number of decimal places using what this increase or decrease decimal feature, right? Good. So it helps you to standardize the number of decimal places so that all of them will be to the same decimal places. Now someone would ask, can't we easily copy from the notepad? So we have the notepad here, right? Good. So if we do Ctrl A and then Ctrl C, highlight and copy, and then we come back to Excel and then we try to paste. Let's see what happens. You see now that even when you paste, the old data are actually on the same column, right? Good. You see the old data is actually on the same column, so they are not separated for you to now start formatting them one after the other. So you see now that coming via the text editor wizard is actually a better alternative than just copying it from Notepad, which you have seen here, down to Excel, which just pastes all of them on the same column. Remember, you can now save this as any file format, either CSV or tab or whatever you want to use. So let's say we are using CSV and then we click on save. So you will now be able to import it to any other software that needs the data point. So we have exhaustively shown you how to move your data from Notepad to Excel. We'll see you on the next tutorial. Ensure you keep staying safe and have a fantastic time. Bye.